Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon, depending on which time zone you're tuning in from. To our esteemed panelists who are joining us from parts of Europe, good morning. For those who are based in Dubai, good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and welcome to today's Dubai Businesswomen Council Women in Retail and Luxury Forum that is held proudly in partnership with A&E Magazine. On behalf of the President of the Dubai Businesswomen Council, Her Excellency Dr. Raja Al Ghurg, and the board members, I want to welcome our esteemed panelists who are joining us from Europe and Dubai. Welcome, ladies and gents, and thank you for being with us here today. Just a quick introduction to our audience about our panelists. We have George Kern, CEO Breitling, Sabina Belli, CEO Pomellato Group, Ingie Chalhoub, founder and president Etoile Group, founder and creative director Ingie Paris, Riccardo Sciutto, CEO Sergio Rossi, and of course our moderator for today, Lara Mansour, the founder and editor-in-chief of A&E Magazine. As for our audience, welcome and thanks for taking part in our digital forum today. It gives us great to collaborate with A&E Magazine on today's forum as we discuss the main challenges that women face in fashion, luxury, and retail industry from both a local and a global perspective. A little bit of background to our audience. Since its establishment in 2002, and under the leadership of Her Excellency Dr. Raja Al Ghurg, the Council has pivoted itself as the UAE's leading platform for the personal and professional development of businesswomen in Dubai. The Council has, since its inception, dedicated its efforts to encourage women to play an active role in supporting, empowering, and strengthening women's competitiveness here in the UAE and beyond. The Council is constantly collaborating with organizations in both the private and the public sector in order to bring to the table discussions, initiatives, best practices, tools, and solutions that will enable every working woman or businesswoman to grow and prosper beyond her capabilities. We believe that working together with industry experts will allow us to offer the best and the latest expert advice that will provide the businesswomen community with feasible and impactful strategies that will eventually pave the way to growth and sustainable development. I am very, very excited, and I say this on behalf of my president and her board members. I'm very excited to have with us today and to host a powerful and insightful panel of eminent leaders in the local and the global scene of the luxury and the retail industry. Your contribution and the discussion that you're going to bring forward today is definitely going to provide the audience with expert advice that will enable them to adopt the best practices for their businesses. But before I do that, I would like to personally introduce each and every one of you to our audience. And unfortunately, I cannot read everything in your bios because it's fantastic. I will have to pick and choose general things just to acquaint our audience with yourselves as leaders in your industries. So good morning, George. We have George Kern with us this morning. George is the CEO of Breitling, and in 2017, he was appointed the new CEO of the independent watch company Breitling, where he is also a shareholder. In his new position, George Kern's mission is to foster the global development of one of the world's most established watch manufacturers and to focus on further developing Breitling's digital and retail footprint, in particular with a view to accelerating growth in the important Asian markets. George also served as a member of the Young Global Leaders at the World Economic Forum from 2005 to 2010. and he became the founding curator of the Global Shapers community in Zurich in 2011. Welcome, George, and thank you so much for being with us today. I would also like to introduce our audience to Sabina Belli, the Pomellato Group CEO. Good morning, Sabina. Thank you for being with us. Sabina Belli joined the Kern Group in 2015 as CEO of the Pomellato Group, the Milanese jewelry maison. Aspiring to share her experiences by encouraging and supporting other women, Belli launched the Pomellato for Women campaign in 2017. The campaign is a communication platform of like-minded women featuring an inclusive cross-section of women from various disciplines, ages, and arts, highlighting the importance of female leadership. In 2018, she wrote a book called D Come Donna, C Come CEO, sharing her experiences throughout her professional career in a sincere transcript. All proceeds of the book, royalties, are donated to an Italian charity called A&E, which helps women remove themselves from abusive and violent situations. Today, she is acting vice president for the jewelry sector of Alta Gamma Foundation, the Italian luxury brands committee known as the global ambassadors of Italian style. Thank you for being with us, Sabina. It is a pleasure to have you. Ingie Chalhoub. Good morning, Ingie. Ingie is based here in Dubai, and she is the founder and president of Etoile Group, founder and creative director of Ingie Paris. She is one of the Middle East's foremost style icons, known for being a successful businesswoman, a creative designer, and a philanthropist. She is also a fashion innovator who is constantly pushing the boundaries of high-end luxury fashion and has done so since the creation of Etoile Group when she opened her first ever Chanel boutique in the region. Etoile Group has grown to become one of the highest profile names across the Middle East retail markets. And over the last 25 years, Ingie has built a strong presence inside the GCC in countries such as the UAE, KSA, Bahrain, Qatar, and Lebanon. Specializing in bringing luxury brands to the Middle East, she has firmly established the group within the luxury fashion market. Not only that, but in 2009, Ingie established her own label, Ingie Paris, with a capsule collection. Combining French craftsmanship and the glamour of the Middle East, Ingie Paris has evolved since its inception from a small collection of delicate evening gowns to a complete proposal of red carpet dresses, daywear ensembles, knitwear pieces, and accessories. Welcome, Ingie, and thank you for being with us in this digital forum. Last but not least, from our esteemed panelists, we have Riccardo Sciutto, CEO of Sergio Rossi. Buongiorno, Riccardo, and thank you for being here with us. It's always a privilege. Riccardo Sciutto was named CEO of Sergio Rossi in April 2016, and in his role, he brought unique insights and expertise from his successful and diverse business career gained through various prestigious positions held in the fashion and consumer industry. Since his arrival, Mr. Sciutto worked on rebuilding the credibility of the brand with tastemakers and industry insiders. He looked at the future with audacity and positivity, leading a team to create a modern and day-to-night collections designed for the woman of today, who is confident enough to never feel the need to take herself too seriously, but never forgetting the roots and DNA of the brand and recreating a never-seen-before historical archive. That is powerful. I love it. Thank you for being with us, Riccardo. Last but not least, ladies and gents, our moderator for today is Lara Mansour Sawaya. She is a communication professional with 24 years of experience in publishing, media, luxury marketing, and mass communication. She is the founder and the editor-in-chief of A&E Magazine, a luxury lifestyle magazine with 4 editions targeting high-end males and females in several markets such as the UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, and KSA. Across the past 14 years, she oversaw hundreds of creative productions for the industry's leading brands from various categories produced by her team of professionals. Lara is a trusted voice in the industry, and she has been working closely with many of the luxury brands' headquarters on their market strategies and business plans for the region. She is also a proud partner of the Dubai Businesswomen Council, and we are proud to be affiliated with her and her company. And hence, thank you for this, Lara, and for your support to the businesswomen community. Ladies and gents, without further ado, I will now hand over the spotlight to our moderator of the day, Lara, but I would also like to remind our audience that you can type in your questions in the Q&A box and we will attend to them after the discussion is concluded. So for our panelists, thank you so much again for being here. I'm sure there's going to be some amazing insights shared by each and every one of you. Thank you. Lara, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Nadine, for the kind intro. It's such a pleasure to be collaborating with the esteemed council. A warm welcome again to all the panelists. I'm so happy to see familiar faces, even if it's behind the screens. In different days, maybe this forum would have been face-to-face, but we'll make do with the tools that we have today. As Nadine basically mentioned before, a lot of challenges faced this year and a lot of terms came back to the forefront of communication, like inclusivity, diversity, giving back to community, and so forth. I would like to start with Sabina Belli. Sabina, good morning.
Yes, sorry, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, from Milan.
Thank you. Thank you for joining, Sabina. Sabina, Pomellato is a brand that is synonymous with giving back to society, with values, and most importantly, with empowering women. For the past few months, we've seen that a lot of initiatives the Maison has launched, such as the You Are Not Alone initiative, which advocates against domestic violence. And the other one was Pomellato for Women, which advocates and supports empowering women, inclusivity, equality, and gender parity. Could you take us through these initiatives, please, Sabina?
Yes, thank you, Lara. We believe in the Kern group and in Pomellato, of course, that brands nowadays should speak up and convey other messages than just their own products and brand DNA. And actually sharing an opinion on the society, on the world, is very important, particularly because thanks to the digital platforms, to the social medias, luxury brands have an immense power of influence through all the different contexts they enjoy. So Pomellato, being a brand for women and also led by women, 74% of our workforce are women, and among our executive committee, the majority are women as well. And one last number, 80% of our clients do self-purchase our products, and those clients are women. So being so much skewed towards women, we thought that we had to share again our opinion on this matter. And today, women need to be supported more than ever, because the new generation women have a much bigger opportunity to get into the world of work and to express the dreams and the wishes of contributing by working in the society. And yet this parity of gender is not achieved. And so Pomellato wishes to support women in their combat to become successful businesswomen. And on the other hand, we also do know that there is a huge issue around the world, no matter what the social background is, whereby women are victims of domestic violences. 1 out of 3 women in the world are victims of domestic violences, be it sexual violence, physical violence, economical violence, psychological violence, and we must stop this. And therefore, Pomellato uses its voice to advocate and support women. And particularly during the pandemic, you know that the lockdown reinforced this dramatic situation, and the crimes of domestic violence raised very, very dramatically. And so we used again our campaigns to give a voice to all women that found themselves in such a situation. And we are very proud to see that the crowdfunding that we have organized have been raising quite an interesting amount of money to be given back to all sorts of associations and free telephone numbers that allow women to be supported in these situations.
Thank you, Sabina. Ingie, good morning.
Good morning, Lara.
Good morning. Ingie, as I recall, you've been the first woman basically to bring the luxury retail to the region, to our Middle East region. I'm sure you faced a lot of challenges along the way. Can you name a few key ones, and how did you overcome them?
First of all, thank you very much for conveying me to this conference that is amazing with the very nice panel. And yeah, as a woman, it's always been a challenge to run a business and be a leader in your own business, and at the same time have a family that is supportive of your decision. So of course it has been a big challenge as a woman, but I would not only say as a woman and as a leader in the luxury, but also at the time where the Western world did not know the potential of the Middle East. It was with a lot of persistence that I had to convince the Western world about the Middle Eastern potential. And it was at the time where no brands were represented in the region, where in Kuwait, in Saudi, as well as in the UAE, brands were not yet represented as it is widely today. So this was also a very big challenge for me to go there and be a pioneer in bringing luxury brands to the Middle East. Thank God I had the brand standing by me and believing in me. And as I had told you, the story of the president of Chanel, she was a woman, Françoise Montenay. She came to Dubai, I invited her at the time in the 90s, and she said, I believe in you. So that was a great message. And after that, I could bring many, many more brands, of course, through the Etoile boutique, as well as the group, and expanding to other territories as KSA. Kuwait was already established, and later on Bahrain and other territories like Qatar, Lebanon, which were more difficult. So that was also a challenge, of course, to convince the brands to come over. The third challenge was during the Gulf War. As you know, after establishing the luxury brands in Kuwait, we had the Gulf War in the 90s. And with my husband, we had to restart all over again. We selected Dubai to be part of that new venture and initiatives that were granted in the Emirates. And it was really a great experience. So, but it was also a challenge to restart all over again and believe in yourself and in your skills that you can do it again. And now the COVID came, and this pandemic has changed all the norms, because all the norms that we have known have been completely destroyed by one pandemic and one all of a sudden shutdown of the business. So that was also a very difficult time where our anxieties were at a very high level, because you have still to run a business, and you have a lot of families that are part of your cooperation, and they are on your shoulder. They are a full responsibility. So this pandemic has, of course, been a very difficult time, where we had to overcome those difficulties. But we are very proud to say that we came out of it heads up, and stronger than ever, and stronger than before, and with the great results by the end of this year.
Thank you, Ingie. I think we are fortunate that we are among the markets around the world that is recovering healthily. Yes. And we are resuming, even though if it's slowly, but at least we're open, and that's thanks to the leadership and the abiding of people by the rules. So I think we are fortunate. George, yeah. Hi, good morning.
Need to unmute. Good morning, Lara.
Good morning. So basically, we were talking about inclusivity, diversity, equality. Those are all terms that have come to the forefront of communication in 2020. I mean, many brands used to take them very seriously before, but now it's in the highlight, it's in the forefront. I still recall Breitling, not this year, long time before the other brands started rethinking their strategies, that you've adopted this within your communication when it came, for example, with example implemented with the Breitling squads, and not only relying on one persona that will embody the DNA or the identity of the brand. So can you tell us about that concept, being a leader in this squad strategy, and why?
Thank you, Lara. A couple of things on that. I will try to make that very quickly. So indeed, I think the values have been changing, in particular during COVID. I was in Dubai last week. I missed you, Lara. I'm sorry. Next time we have to have lunch at least. And I would say that Dubai is still in a bubble. If you compare it to other cities in the world, New York, LA, Paris, Milano, Dubai definitely lives in a bubble, and I was surprised about the few restrictions you have and how active I would say the market is in a context where there's no tourism anymore. I mean, there are many brands depending on the Chinese tourism, and obviously today, in particular in Dubai, but I would say in all the cities and in all the countries in the world, you rely on the local communities, on the local population consuming. In terms of values, you're right. I would say there's three, and we have, I would say, embraced these values before, thank God, before COVID. We talk about inclusive luxury, we talk about casual luxury, and we talk about sustainable luxury. Inclusive means that how do I talk to the consumer? So it's about being much more relaxed, not being, in sports like Formula One, golf, or tennis, which represents, in a way, also the traditional luxury. I don't want to say the old luxury, but I would say the traditional luxury. We are more in surfing, which is a lifestyle, for instance, or triathlon, everybody's swimming, running, or cycling. I think that's a very important thing. We want to be inclusive. We want to be tangible to the consumer. The second aspect is casual luxury. I'm not wearing a tie. I think things are changing. It doesn't mean that you cannot wear luxury stuff. I mean, who knows if people are wearing cashmere sweater from Loro Piana or not. But I think luxury becomes more and more casual, and you see it also in our boutiques, informal, also with all the home office stuff, etc. This, I think, will continue with the millennials in China. And Brad Pitt, one of our ambassadors, is a very informal guy. And the third thing is sustainability. We work with Ocean Conservancy, we fight plastics in the oceans, we work with new materials like Etoile, which is also used by Prada, by Burberry, by Gucci. which is basically recycled nylon made out of lost fishing nets in the ocean. 650,000 tons of fishing nets are lost in the oceans per year. It's not about changing the world. We cannot. We are too small. But it's about educating. It's about sending a message. And so these are the values which change. And to finish on the advertising campaign, indeed, we have squads. We believe more in teams than in individuals. And yes, it gives us flexibility graphically, but also content-wise. For instance, our surfer squad, we have Kelly Slater, but we have two women. We have now, with our new females line, we have also fantastic women, very diverse women's squad with Charlie Theron, which is a South African actress, Oscar-winning actress, with Misty Copeland, which is the first black prima ballerina in New York, and Yao Cheng, a very famous and very engaged actress in China. So it allows us to be very diverse and to combine different things graphically, but also from the storytelling point of view.
Thank you, George. It's amazing that if you can't change the world, at least you will use your platform and your voices to have an impact. And what you're doing is using your channels to make a positive change and a positive impact with whatever you can do. I move to Riccardo. Riccardo, good morning.
Ciao, Lara. Nice to see you finally.
Nice to see you. Riccardo, I've been to your magic kingdom. You call the factory at San Mauro Pascoli your magic kingdom. And you always used to tell me that you want women to dream when they're wearing your brand and your shoes. Tell me a little bit, Riccardo, what comes to your mind? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you're shaping up your communication strategy targeting those women?
Buongiorno a tutti. It's a pleasure to be here today, finally. I would love to be in Dubai with you. It was much pleasure, but next time, very soon. As you know, when we started with the Magic Kingdom, the idea was to put the factory and the way how we do the shoes at the center of the project. The reason is also why we have more than 70% of women working over there. They are really artisans, so we love also how they can express themselves. But the big point is, let's dream the women. And I'm very linked to the Sabina Belli message. They need to dream it. And you know how much is crucial for us making so amazing shoes for them to let them dream. And the power of the shoes is also power of what is on the back. So the lady creating these incredible pieces, but also the lady that can wear and express themselves to talk about the desire. Today we are, let me see, blocking all this year with lockdown up and down in Europe. As George tells, the situation is not positive in terms of psychological, because at the end of the story, health is crucial. We know everybody, but psychological, nobody is thinking about. It means, you know, when you have the healthy and the medicine and everything is, let me see, is more physical and chemical, but then what's happening inside everybody of us, then you need to think what time is it to exit, what time is it to go down. You can imagine that dreaming is the only solution to keep the balance. So we need to keep the fire very open on these points. And the luxury field has a good opportunity. No more to tell about only the products, I agree about this, but what is on the back, and is crucial. So when we work on this communication, always everything was changed, but the link between these, let me see, traditional savoir-faire, how we can speak with the final customer, keeping them alive is a good point. I remind during the COVID, for 1 month, I decided to stop all the product image. We just give indication to, we would love to go to the mountain, we would love to go where, because we need to get inspired. And the brand's power is incredible, because they have a loyalty customer following them, but they follow, and I follow personally brand, not only for the products. Products is the symbol of what I'm getting from there. But what is on the back, what is the story, is the crucial points. And so Magic Kingdom, and finally the name was fantastic, because you can imagine when the people arrive, also my workers arrive, why Magic Kingdom? Because we need to create magic products to let inspire the customer, absolutely.
Thank you, Riccardo. Thank you. Dreams, at least, is something that we can never take for granted. Sabina, back to you.
Yes.
Yes. Sabina, as we all know, women definitely have a lot of challenges at the workplace. At Pomellato, what do you do to tackle such challenges that women are facing nowadays?
Lara, you know, the first thing I really wanted everyone to know, whether it's women or whichever person, is that Pomellato is a safe space. That I think is a very important thing to know, that even in the workplace, you must and you can feel safe. And safe has a very wide palette of meanings. Of course, during pandemic, being safe was first and foremost in terms of health and security. And it was my number one priority as head of the company to make sure that all my employees were feeling safe in the workplace. It is important to feel safe when you have, you know, any personal issue in terms of whichever choice you want to make in your personal life, in terms of sexual orientation, in terms of religion, in terms of beliefs, in terms of whichever you know, choice. And one should be in a safe space and feel safe to express their fundamental choices in life with no threatened and with no feeling whatsoever of being discriminated or judged or criticized. And this is called inclusivity, of course, but inclusivity starts first and foremost when you feel safe. And finally, safe as a woman or as a person that may feel less confident in certain situations. And again, I foster very much the fact that, you know, you can talk about money, you can talk about salary raise, you can talk about your own value as a professional without feeling, again, in a situation where there must be some topics of conversation that you don't feel safe expressing. So this feeling of, you know, you are in a safe space and you can use this safe space to actually develop yourself and to find a way to be supported in a situation whereby you may not feel as safe in other you know, in other fields of your life. Sometimes I do see women that do not feel safe at home, not simply because of, again, domestic violence, but also because they don't feel supported in their choices. You know, today, particularly in countries like Italy, for example, it is still very, very difficult to explain to your family that you want to fulfill yourself beside being a mother. And sometimes, you know, you have judgmental feelings at home, and yet, you know, again, in the workplace, you must feel safe to, you know, to bring further these ambitions that may be seen as irrelevant elsewhere. So that's really very important for me. And it's expressed in so many different ways, from the super tiny little signs that the company sends out to the most fundamental and important ones. And of course, without forgetting that safety is also a question of living in a very healthy environment, also in terms of sustainability. And in Pomellato, we are very, very keen to make sure that each and every of us contributes to a sustainable environment. And that is also another facet of safety.
Thank you, Sabina. George, being a global organization with many people, with many women in specific in senior positions, what do you do at Breitling to ensure that you're supporting women in challenges that they are facing at the workplace? COVID obviously has imposed a lot of challenges as well, whether it's with the online learning, you know, coming to office, etc. Tell us a little bit more of how you tackle such challenges that you have.
Well, obviously, we also have strict hygiene measures. And as you know, we have our manufacturing center in the mountains in Switzerland. And most watchmakers, by the way, are watch women makers. Probably their hands are much better to deal with these tiny little movement elements. No, we took dramatic steps to make our environment safe in working in shifts with masks, etc., etc. I must say we had very few cases. We are roughly 1,400 people. We had probably 30 cases, and most of them were imported, so from the households into the company. So I would say also on a worldwide level, when you look at the statistics anyway, most of the cases come from non-professional environment and mostly from home. So yes, we work on that, and as you know, there are very strict laws also in Switzerland in terms of equal pay, etc., etc. And all this is, I would say, normal. And I'm surprised that we even debate these kind of issues. It should be part of normality, I would say, to have equal opportunities for women in the business. Of course, we are in the luxury industry and we attract more women than in the machinery industry, so that's normal. Still, I think it should be normal concept to have, as I said, equal opportunities for women to grow in the business as much as they want.
Thank you, George. Ingie, what do you do at the Etoile Group to ensure an inclusive workspace?
So first of all, equality is very important, and diversity, and it is the world we will live in, not only diversity in terms of nationalities, but also in terms of gender, and also in terms of young transmission to the young generation. It's very important as well. So we have, first of all, we give equal opportunities, like George was saying earlier, to women, but also to nationals, Saudi nationals, or Kuwaiti nationals, or Bahraini nationals. Today in our stores in Saudi and in Bahrain, we are very, very proud to say that 99% of the workforce is Saudi, is local, as well as in Bahrain. So this comes with offering training as well, a retail academy supporting it, giving them the tools and the skills. We also work very closely with Tamhir in KSA, which is a program for graduates. While they're still graduating, they are still giving a chance to develop their skills, and after them give them the possibility of integrating the company. The other company the other association we work with in the Kuwait is Student Hub as well. We're about to sign with them. Also, it's about this type of programs that can develop the students, and at the same time, while they're graduating, they are able to experience their skills at our end, and 6 months later, we can offer them a job. So all of that comes with working on the work culture, the values, and giving them the same chances as in terms of, again, gender, but also nationalities. So we are like 53% female oriented. Well, in our organization, we have 53% women, but also we have, as I told you, in Saudi, a big workforce of Saudis.
Thank you, Ingie.
And we're very proud of that.
Thank you, Ingie. Riccardo, since you've joined Sergio Rossi, I know that it has been one of your main objectives, your commitment to and efforts towards sustainability. Tell me a bit about that side, please. What are you doing currently at Sergio Rossi, respecting sustainability and the project around?
Sustainability, obviously everybody's thinking just to the energy. Then in any case is our crucial point. And finally, when I got the company, this side was already in a good way started by Kern, because you know Sergio Rossi was Kern before. So in the DNA of the company was already something that we developed stronger and stronger. Putting the energy at the center, because making the production all internally, we need to be sure then also for the health of the people, health of everything, we should follow this track. From last January, beginning of this year, 100% of our energy is green energy. So it's all certified, so I know where it's coming. 20% is coming from my roof. All the rest is coming from Italy, from tree center, and we selected. So finally, on this point, we went by a big step. On the other side, was crucial is also work on the mentality of the people, because sometimes sustainability is not only like a big act, but is the works of all the people. As George tell at the beginning, we need to do our side. We cannot solve the problem by ourselves. But if everybody can make one step, I think it's a good point for our child. When I do this point, you know, I can love my child. The point is always having a great healthy for my people, but also having a great future for my child. And the other two steps in my sustainability report is the human capital and the local community. Because when we work about this product in terms of quality and working, we have got more than 1,000 people working for us around San Mauro Pascoli. So for me, keeping high this type of quality and reporting is telling them we can give them help, support, financial, in terms of instruction, because as Sabina told, we need to keep the people with freedom, and also instruction, capability with formation, with training is the crucial point. At the end of the story, the archive is my last step, but crucial, because with the archive, we started with the, circularity collection. We can start directly from the archive and making new collection with, less use of energy. And just a few days ago, we launched a collection on e-commerce on 3D base. Was designed on 3D, sold on 3D in e-commerce, and now we are producing the order of last week with delivery before Christmas. This is the way of working. So we cannot anymore work 6 months before, 8 months before. But if you don't integrate your customer with the factory, you are missing an opportunity.
Thank you, Riccardo. George, I know that Breitling and the Middle East have this very special relation. As you said, you've been here recently and you've launched also the Ladies Chronomat. Tell us please about the pipeline projects for Breitling in the Middle East and about the ladies line that you've launched recently.
I could talk for hours, and I'm not going to do this. So
we have a restricted timing, so I'm trying to make sure that everybody all.
No, I mean, one of our strategic objectives 3 years ago when we took over the company, as you know, we're owned by private equity, was number one, to develop the Asian market, particular China, Greater China, including Hong Kong and Macau, and second, the women's segment. We were talking, Sabina was mentioning the jewelry part of it. What you have to understand is that women represent, or the women's watch market represents 60% of the overall global watch market, whilst men's obviously is only 40%. But unlike in jewelry, from what I understand from Sabina, men are buying their own watches. Don't ever try to buy your husband or your boyfriend a watch. It's like buying him a car. It doesn't make sense. You have to be 100% sure what the guy wants, otherwise he will never buy the watch. But females' watches are gifted. So it's very different in terms of approach. So we have anyway a huge community of male customers, and we hope that these male customers are now buying the watches for their wives or partners. Again, we hope that in the next coming years, the share of women's watches will be roughly 30%. We've just launched, as you said, a phenomenal line, which is doing extremely well. And yeah, I'm looking forward, in particular in the Middle East, I think we have a huge potential with females watches.
Thank you, George. Sabina, back to you. Also, I know that Pomellato has a very special relation with the Middle East, and you've just recently launched your first high jewelry collection for the Maison. Could you please tell me about it?
Yes, Lara, we do have a very special relationship with the region, because we've been lucky enough to be in the Dubai Mall for quite a while, thanks to our partnership with the Altair family. And we also have a very great opportunity today, because you may know that we have 100 master goldsmith in-house. So each and every of our products are handmade in Milano, and therefore we can claim basically that every single product is a piece of high jewelry, because that is the specificity of high jewelry, being very much you know, crafted by goldsmith by hand. And when it happened to seek the opportunity to launch a more, let's say, precious line, which we called La Gioia, which in Italian means joy, of course. And we thought that never ever before we needed as much joy as these days. La Gioia is really a way to celebrate each and every very strong, iconic design of our existing lines in a much more sublimated way, whether by choosing extremely precious stones or by multiplying the number of stones in a very opulent and very, you know, glamorous piece. And still respecting the very DNA of Pomellato, which is this kind of pret-a-porter jewelry that you can wear any day, anytime, without having to wait for that special occasion that sometimes never happens. And, you know, this is really one of the biggest frustrations, I guess, for women that own exclusive and very special pieces of jewelry. At the end of the day, they sit in a vault in a bank because you never have the occasion of wearing them. While at Pomellato, you can wear our jewelry at work, or, you know, for your own pleasure. And again, La Gioia may add another layer to this pret-a-porter in an even more precious way. So it's a collection of more or less 200 pieces that will be presented and have been presented recently. And I've seen some stars in the eyes of my friends in the Middle East, because I know that, you know, there is a lot of sophistication and great taste among women in your region, and they have this very discerning eye that can spotlight what is new and what is trendy. And I've seen that sparkle when we presented our collection. So I'm very proud and very grateful. And I wish long life to La Gioia, with additional pieces coming in the next weeks and months.
Thank you, Sabina. Speaking of opportunities, Ingie, I know that you're a firm believer that even in the most difficult of times and the most challenging of times, we always find a place to find opportunities in crisis. Tell me more about that and about the pipeline projects for Etoile that you have.
So, Lara, I do believe that this is the time where we question ourselves. We put the basics together, because in times of crisis, you take the time to rethink your strategy. You must refix the basics, because the brands that did not work before will not work tomorrow, right? So you can't anymore afford to close your eyes on the problems. So you are obliged somehow, and everything takes you to refixing the basics, taking the time, take a step back, and rethink your strategy. So in the pipeline, as I always believe, there are new opportunities. Resizing is one thing, but redeploying is very important, because this is the time where you have you have to redeploy and redevelop and spend more time and money and effort thinking about how to get bigger share of the pie, but also maybe take on board new brands, take on board new markets, and develop because the opportunities are always there during crisis. So this is what I believe in terms of prices. It's really an important time where you have to redeploy.
Thank you, Ingie, for your answer. I know that we are almost getting to the end of our time dedicated for this panel. So I'm just going to try to do a quick question with Riccardo and then the final question to all our panelists. Riccardo, I know that one of your famous mottos is to think heritage and play digital. I love it. I love this motto. So tell me more about that. And you know what? How is it possible to balance between maintaining and respecting heritage and DNA, yet being relevant to the modern consumer today?
You know, the crucial point of our company is always to find this balance. We have an incredible heritage, incredible story, but sometimes it's very difficult to find the new customer and find a new level to interact with them. So all my team is always with this think heritage, because we need to find who we are and what's the story that we made in Sergio Rossi. So know our story, be proud of what we made in the past, absolutely, but look in the future with audacity in order to take innovation. And finally, today, the COVID make a big impression to everything we used to do. So innovation in terms of talking with you today by distance is another step how we can speed up the process and where we can put the customer at the center of the experience. And you can do like this, the same story of the collection, design in the factory, but expressed on the e-commerce and delivery in 2 weeks. Over there, you have the innovative side. The big point is working with the people, not only with the technology, because technology, I love technology, you know, I'm like a kid with technology all the time, but the point is technology is cold. And for the brands like our brands, then they have an open heart on the back, is to find the right balance. And this is the, let me see, the big words of the next years for all the luxury company.
Thank you, Riccardo. So I will address the final question and I will ask each one of you. I will start by Sabina. 2020 obviously was a very challenging year to all of us. I would like to know if there is one lesson or motto that you will carry out of this year with you. What would it be?
Well, I think that this year really taught me even more about gratefulness, being grateful for whatever we have already, and think that, you know, especially maybe in our luxury world, we tend to run always after the exceptional, the extraordinary, the unseen before. But just by giving a quick look to what we have already around ourselves and, you know, be grateful and take full advantage of that is amazing. Just a quick example. I've been traveling all over the world like a crazy woman for like all my life. And now I think I've never spent as many nights in my own bed as in these past months. And actually, I started rediscovering my own country. And basically, you know, what's the point of going miles and miles away when just few kilometers here, there are the most beautiful things in the world, because Italy is obviously the most beautiful country in the world. And so be grateful for what you have just around yourself, and thank every day for the chance of being alive and healthy.
George, what would be your answer on this?
Well, I hope that 2021 will have a more normalized life with the vaccine. As you know, in many countries now being implemented. I just fear that that the economic consequences of all these lockdowns and of the pandemic will be terrible. I think we haven't even started to be in the first wave. and there will be millions and millions and millions of unemployed people, companies going bankrupt. And I think the next 2-3 years from a macroeconomic point of view will be extremely tough, I think, in the luxury industry also. And I fear that there will be many companies suffering, and there will be less and less diversity, people buying more and more the same brands around the world. There's, as I said, localization in terms of consumption, but I think there's a globalization in terms of taste, even more than before the pandemic. So I think I hope that for humankind, you know, the problems will be solved. I fear, as I said, the consequences on many countries, well, let's cross fingers that my fear will not be true and realized.
Let's aim to stay positive. Thank you, George. Ingie, what would be your motto or lesson that you will take out of 2020?
So be fast, be agile, and adapt, and embrace innovation, creativity, and diversity. I would say also quality time. Quality time with your beloved ones.
Thank you, Ingie. Riccardo, what is your motto or lesson taken out of 2020?
But you know, flexibility and quickness today is everything. I believe then the courage is not enough. So I spoke with my team about audacity. Audacity is the capability to drop down and stand up and fight. Because courage, you just stand up. Audacity, you stand up and fight. And today I'm agree about the opportunity is an opportunity. So we should to see the positivity. I always see positivity, but you need to put the person at the center and giving a new balance. I think the life will be different for everybody of us and also for our customer. So we need to be very quick to understand and react where they are. Local and my neighbor will be more important than before. Before the neighbor was nothing and only the longer distance was useful. Today, everything is around you. So use this time to change what you need to change, because many companies, they need to change today, including our immediately. We cannot wait next year to change. We need to change from 6 months ago, 1 year ago, up to the future. And to adapt like a startup, you know, you need to use the startupper mind in a traditional company. This is the balance about always innovation and heritage. This is the good point of spirit.
Thank you, Riccardo. Speaking of time, I think we could go on speaking for hours, but we have a 1 hour dedicated chat for our topic today. So I would love to thank you so much for joining our panel. I would have preferred to have it, of course, face-to-face, but we have circumstances that we have to abide by. So it has been kicking off the first virtual forum digitally. I send the word now to my colleague Nadine. Again, thank you so much. And hopefully we'll catch you on new and future events.
Thank you, Lara. Thank you, Riccardo. Thank you, George. Thank you, Ingie. Thank you, Sabina. Whatever you've shared has great, impactful, insightful messages embedded in them. I am an empath and an optimist myself. I did take a few notes here and there from some of your inspirational pieces of advice that I managed to catch every now and then. I would like to wrap up with just a rundown of a few things that I think the audience would probably make use of moving forward. We have a lot of entrepreneurs and startups in the audience. We have those who belong to a family business. We have those in very senior positions in multinational companies as well as the government sector. So I think it will apply to everyone. So just a few statements here and there. Bear with me. Ingie, you said something beautiful. When you were referring to your experience with the leading person at Chanel who told you, I believe in you, Ingie. And I think this is something very, very, it resonates such power, because this is the problem with women these days. They should be supporting more of each other. They should be telling each other, I believe in you, go for it, and I have your support. So that, I think, is a very key message, having said that women should come together more often. George, You also said something very inspirational when you mentioned that you believe in your teams and not in your individuals. And I think this should apply across the board, regardless of what type of company or what type of business one is in, whether it's luxury and retail, whether it's construction, whatever it is. There is so much value in believing in a team rather than an individual. Riccardo, you did mention a couple of things about many things actually that resonated as well. But one of the few were sustainability should be more in the investment in human capital. And I completely agree. We should also embrace and look at the future with audacity. You did mention the word audacious a few times, and I really picked up on that because I completely agree with you. I'm sure many people in the audience do so. We have to always look at things from the lens of an innovative perspective in order to keep our customers at the center, and that is extremely, extremely true. Sabina, you are very inspirational in so many ways. Your personal messages that resonate, hope, faith, belief in women. I don't want to just say women, but in the human race in general, women and men, it doesn't really matter now that we're talking gender inclusivity and parity. But you are a shining force. We thank you for all the valuable key messages that you managed to share with us. Yes, it is true that we should always revisit and rethink strategies ongoing. I hope all your new ventures turn out to be as successful as everything that you ventured into. I think times ahead we should look at times ahead in a more positive perspective. Hopefully 2021 will be a lot more fruitful, a lot more better, a lot more peaceful than 2020. Let us all embrace the change with positivity and move ahead with the times, because they are challenging times. On behalf of my president, Her Excellency Dr. Raja Al Ghorg, and the board members of the Dubai Businesswomen Council, I thank each and every one of you for taking the time to be with us today. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for your tools. Thank you for your advice. And of course, for your time and your expertise. I wish you all a lovely day. And hopefully we will do this again, as Lara said, in a face-to-face manner. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.